Hi friends, and welcome back to my crafty space where I share my memory keeping projects and processes with all of you. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome. My name is Krystal. I am so excited that you are here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you can see all my future crafty videos, and any of the products or the links that I mention in this video I will put in that description box down below. So today I am creating a new story for my story album all about friendship, well, using the friendship story kit from Ali Edwards. And today I am telling the story of my friendship with Tashi. If you guys know who Tashi is or don't know who Tashi is, she's Precisely Tashi here on YouTube or on Instagram. And she and I have quickly become really good online friends. So I am telling the story this week about how we started talking and just the things that I really like about Tashi and just what she means to me as a friend. So I am going to put you guys on fast forward. Before I get to the actual process, I will take you to my computer so I can show you how I made this background paper using journaling cards, just because this is going to be a big feature to this page. So I figure you guys might want to know how I made this. And then we're going to come back to my desk here and put this thing together. Then we'll slow down at the end to close you guys out. So let's go ahead and head over to the computer. All right, you guys, so before we get started on assembling this page, let me show you how I made that floral page that we'll put as a background feature on the right-hand side of my spread. So basically what I did is I pulled open this journaling card that has the florals on it, and it had like this creamy tan background. So I just grabbed my paint can and selected the whitest white color, recolored the background white, and then I copied the entire card and I put it onto a 6x8 canvas that I created. Then I switched the color, so the white was in the background color, if that makes sense, down there on the little squares. And then I erased just the topmost portion and the bottommost portion of the card so that I could squeeze them up next to each other without having big, wide open gaps. So then I can just place them, right in a row. I don't really care about the middle section because I'm actually going to put something in the middle of this page. Once I have all of my stuff laid out, I merged all the layers, and then this was ready to be printed. So that's how we get to this. The only other things that I printed at the same time was a journaling card that I made myself. It says celebrating friendships. A little bit later in this month, I'm going to show you guys how I used the stamp set as a mask for patterned paper, which is how I made the title on that. So stay tuned for that. And then I just made that a 3x8 journaling card with the stamp sentiment at the top. And added my journaling. Then I also made it's a 2-inch by 8-inch section. It was like a square that I did, and I just colored the background that blue and printed it on vellum. I wanted something to differentiate the card from that background, and so that's going to help with that. And then the final thing I have here are 2 journaling sections that I also printed on vellum. These are 2.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall, so slightly smaller than a 3x4 card. And you'll see why I did that a little bit later. I have these photos actually printed at that same size as well, so 2.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. So then once I get everything trimmed out, I'm going to set aside all of the printed elements, and I want to make a background to go behind the journaling and the pictures. So I'm going to pull out my jelly plate and just do a little play with paints. I pulled out a red, a yellow, a blue, a pink, and a white as colors to mix and try and match the colors within the kit. So I have that red. I want to use the red and yellow and white to try to mimic that peachy, like orangey color that's in the kit. I will do the same with the pink. I'll combine the pink and the white to try and get that lighter pink color. I'll do one that is like a yellow and then also one that's a blue. So this is the example of how I get, that more peachy red color. And before I pulled my jelly plate out, I did go ahead and cut a couple of sections of 3x4 cardstock. So my idea for this spread was to create sort of a grid. At first, I thought about making this spread about multiple online friends, and putting, having 4 of them on here and having their picture in each of the 4 sections. So if you imagine a 6x8 page, if I divide that into the 4 3x4 spots, I had originally thought about putting 4 on a page and just talking in general about online friends. But then I just decided to just talk about Tazhi this time and save the other ones for another time. Maybe, later on down the road. So I still wanted to go with that grid look. So then instead of having 4 different pictures, I thought, why couldn't I do 2 pictures? So one of Tazhi and one of me, and then do 2 sections that have journaling. But I wanted to use mixed media to make my grids. I just thought that would be really fun and a great opportunity to play with paints. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? If you guys have never seen any of Tazhi's videos, she is super into mixed media. She's actually the person who encouraged me to get a jelly plate and to try using acrylics in this way and, among other things. So I will often go to her for different mixed media inspiration. So I just felt like it made so much sense to still do a mixed media grid type page in a story about her. It was just very serendipitous. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got that red. This one, I mixed one up and it just seemed too red to me. So I threw on some more white and then mixed that in to make it even more peachy. And then I'm just, sometimes I am like grabbing the whole print from the jelly plate onto a piece of cardstock. Sometimes I will roll it off onto one of those cards. The cards are essentially what I want to use to make the grid. So sometimes I'll use my brayer and just roll off onto the actual card itself. Other times I will add the card directly onto the jelly plate like this one. Now this one I added more yellow to it because at first I did yellow and white and then it turned really like a pale yellow, but the kit yellow is much more it's much more saturated, almost like sunshine yellow. So I added some more yellow on top of that to try and get more color into the card itself. When I rolled off on that one, the yellow 3x4 card, I got a little bit of the peach color on my brayer, and I actually thought it turned out super pretty. So this is going to be my attempt at the pink. I like the way that the colors turn out on this, but I ultimately decide not to use the pink. I was thinking at first when I was doing this project, I thought that I would do 4 different colors. Since there's a lot of colors in this kit, right? We've got a couple of different blues, we've got yellow, we've got like a reddish, a deeper red, but it's not like red. It's kind of like a burnt orange red. And then we've got like a coral color, and then we've got a light pink color. So there are so many color options within this kit. So I thought about pulling 4 of them and having each quadrant of the grid page be a different color. When we get there, you'll see kind of how the colors work together or don't work together and how I end up actually making it work. So then this one, this is my final colors that I'm going to be doing, and it's these blues. So this one I left darker. So I did some that were darker, and then I'm also going to do one that is a little bit lighter. Now I make a lot of prints here, mostly because first of all, it's a lot of fun to just make a bunch of prints. But on top of that, I can use these for a lot of different things. I can punch them with different shape punches like circles or hearts or things like that. I can use them as layering elements for other spreads, or I can do exactly what I'm doing now and cut them into either like background papers or journaling cards, or just so many different things that you can do with them. And it's really nice to have some of these like custom colors that match the kit. So when I'm working on projects, I can literally pull out my stack of papers and see, what I can use and how I can use it. So here are all of the prints I made. So I've got some, like I said, some of those peaches, some of the deeper burnt orange, reddish color, pink, blue, yellow, a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to pick out some of my favorites. And again, at first I'm going to get 4 of them. So 4 different colors. I have a red, a pink that I'm going to keep out, a yellow that I will keep out, and also I'll keep 2 yellows because I can't decide which one I like better. And then I ran out of the 3x4 cards that I pre-cut. And so when I was doing this, I just figured I would just roll off and make prints, and I'll just cut those into my 3x4s instead and not worry about cutting them out. So then I will take actually 2 of these prints, and cut them into a few 3x4 cards. This one I really liked because it was lighter and it had some white marks in it and more like marbling. It looked more marble to me. It was really cool. So I picked that one because it got the lighter blues. So then I have a lighter blue, a darker blue, a yellow, a pink. I'm going to grab one more dark blue just to have some variation. This one is a lot more saturated, I think, than the other one. The other one's got some lighter blue in it too, not as much dark blue as that one. Then I will clean off my table and bring over all of the elements so we can start laying this out and putting it together. Now I had that section of vellum blue that I printed. So it was, 2 inches wide by 8 inches tall. I trimmed it out and then cut it into 2 1-inch sections. And then I adhered that to both sides of my journaling card. And that's just going to help the journaling card stand out from the floral background. I wanted it to be the vellum so that it had a little bit of softness to it. I really liked the way that turned out. So it just helps everything pop. So that's what it would look like with all 4. And I immediately was like, nope, I don't like it. So then I thought, okay, maybe I can do 2 different shades of blue. So a darker blue and a lighter blue, and then the like red and the yellow. So I'm going to get that set up. Now I know I want my journaling in the top right and the bottom left, and I want my pictures in the top left and the bottom right. So then I was playing with like, well, can I see my journaling off of the yellow? And ultimately I decided, because my friend's word is yellow, that it would look the best if I did 2 reds and 2 blues. And I really like it. I really like the way that looks. So now I'm going to adhere my journaling down onto that floral page. And then I'm going to work on assembling the other half of this spread. So instead of putting these into 3x4 pockets, I'm actually just going to adhere everything down onto another 6x8 piece of cardstock. That will help with the warping of the cardstock since it does have all the paint on it. I decided to use my score tape instead of my roller tape just because it's got a little bit of a stronger hold, and I felt more comfortable that it was going to keep everything flush to the page. And also when I'm taping things on top of that mixed media, I wanted something that's got a little bit more stick to it, just because I wasn't sure how well roller tape would stick to paint. For the journaling sections, I will end up attaching them using my tiny attacher, so just little staples. I did use the Love You Because digital stamp and then typed out my journaling next to the digital stamp. And the reason that one of them has the journaling more towards the top and the other one has the journaling more towards the bottom is because when I planned on putting the Friends cut file piece that I made onto this page, if I had done my journaling all the way down to the bottom, the Friends cut file or piece right there would have covered up some of that journaling and you wouldn't have been able to read it. And the same is true on the opposite side So I needed to push it down so that the F of friends wouldn't cover up any journaling. So that's why I did it that way. So I'm just going to keep working on adhering this stuff down. Now, the friends cut file piece that I made is something that I made from a digital stamp. Again, this month I'm doing tutorials on this channel for different ways to use digital stamps. So I have already filmed all of those videos, and I have some pieces left that I created that I just threw in with all of my friends, this friends kit stash, because I made it all to match it. And so I am now using those pieces on some of these spreads. So stay tuned, because in a couple of weeks I will be releasing a video that shows you exactly how to take a digital stamp and turn it into a cut file like this one. Although if you want to know right now, and that's something that you want to do right this second, you can always, leave me a comment and I will try and do my best to explain it via writing so you guys can do something like this too. But it's really super easy. If you've got a cutting machine, I have a Silhouette that I use. I love my Silhouette, especially for doing things like this. So I am going to adhere down that friends section, and then we're just going to work on embellishing the rest of this page. I kind of struggle a little bit with how to embellish it and where to embellish on this page. And ultimately I end up using some supplies that I made a couple of weeks ago. So in the digital stamp set, there are a couple of floral elements, and what I did is I recolored them and put them on like an 8.5 by 11 canvas, and then I printed one on cardstock and I printed one on vellum, and then just spent a day watching, not a day, but spent an hour watching an episode of Lock and Key, which I have finished at this point, and it is so good. If you guys haven't watched Lock and Key on Netflix, stop what you're doing and go watch it. Well, maybe not stop what you're doing, but definitely put it on your to watch list, because it's amazing. Anyway, so I sat down, I watched an episode, and I just spent the episode fussy cutting all these florals out. And I debate on these hearts so much, and I will not end up adding them to my page, but I do debate on them. So that little tray right there is full of my fussy cut pieces, and I am just going to work on building some clusters with those on this page. While I'm doing that, let me read you guys some of my journaling. So this story, like I said, is about how Tazhi and I started talking and becoming friends on social media. So I wrote on my Celebrating Friendship column, I said, life has a funny way of bringing people into our lives at the exact moment we need them. The year before Tazhi and I started chatting, I had found her on YouTube and binge watched all of her videos. I loved her style, and more than that, I connected with her personality and her fun, outgoing attitude. Imagine my surprise and delight when she reached out to me last winter. I had made the decision to start sharing my projects on social media, Instagram at that time, and to see if I could find my own place in the scrapping community. I was sharing my December daily pages, and one random Friday night, Tazhi private messaged me just to say hi and tell me she liked my pages. I was floored. I couldn't believe that someone like her could actually see someone like me. From there, our friendship has grown and blossomed into something really, really great. She's quickly become one of my closest friends, even though we've never met in real life. Someday we will, and I'm so excited for when that day comes. There are so many things I love about Tazhi, and I feel so, so lucky to call her friend. So that's what the big column says. And then the little love you because sections just say, love you because I say you are so inclusive and want everyone to feel like they are loved and important and welcome. You and I share so much in common, from House Slytherin to anime to crafting and more. Together we make up one whole person. You come up with the ideas and I help get them organized. You emanate kindness. You hold others up and make them feel seen and validated. You are not afraid to be authentically you, and you encourage others to be true to themselves. You are so positive. Even when times are hard, you still manage to find a way to see the light. So that is what all of those little love you because say throughout there. So now you guys can see those floral clusters that I made, and it took me a minute to figure it out, like where I liked them. I kind of like it because it's not really a visual triangle, but if you consider like the floral clusters, there's the two on the one page, and then the celebrating friendship that has that same like look to it. I guess it's kind of a visual triangle. So then I added in 2 of the cardstock stickers. One says True Friend and it's black, and the other one will say Best Days, and I just kind of tuck it in those clusters just to give a little added something on this page. And then that will essentially finish up this page for me. So before I slow down to close you out of this video, I just want to say to each one of you how thankful I am for you and your kindness and your friendship towards me. I feel unbelievably humbled and blessed to be able to call so many of you, honestly, all of you, to call all of you my friends. And gosh, if you would have told me a year ago that this is where I'd be right now, I wouldn't have believed it. You guys are so awesome, and I just love having the opportunity to get to know you guys all better. So, thank you. All right, you guys, so that finishes up this spread for today. This came out really cool. I like all the different textures all over this page. It just, I don't know, it's really pleasing to the eye for me. This was a fun story to tell. It was really fun journaling to do, and hopefully, Tashi, when you watch this, hopefully you'll like this one too. I think it turned out really well, and the mixed media background just makes me think of you. All right, you guys, so that is going to do it for me for today. If you guys have any questions about any of the things that I did with this page, let me know down in the description below, and tell me if you are on a social media platform, have you guys found friendships among other online friends? It's such an interesting world to live in right now, where we can form relationships with people across the world from us. It's so cool. So let me know if you guys have had the opportunity to make some online friends too. And then until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you did like this video, so I know to keep making more like it. And I will catch you all in the next video. Bye now.